use common sense. They're not verbal. You have young children that will be in the. I remember. I'll give you this example. I remember once when I was watching Dr. Phil, and the wife brought her family to Dr. Phil because she says her husband would be sitting in the den and his daughter would be sitting in the same den, and they will be texting each other, but they would not talk to each other. And she thought that was weird. Amen. So welcome. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Call Up Gospel Radio or Zoom, welcome everyone to the 1st of May. Aren't you happy that you're alive on the 1st of May and that God spare our lives and we have all right to give him praise. We have all right to give him glory. We have all right to bless the name of the Lord God. Not everyone made it over to May 1st, but we're here and we have to just honor him and to give him thanks because what this woman was talking about, I don't have her full name. That's why I keep saying woman. But what she just wrote a book which talks about her research on the effects of music. And we all know that when the children listen to rock music and like to the demonic music, and I know a little bit that they do incorporate idol worship and Baphomet into it. Someone sent me over the weekend about this woman in Jamaica called Spice and Vibes Cartel. I have no clue who those people are, but she was doing a music video, and it was like she was at the front, and then she had 5 other women. I guess they were the dancers or backup singers on the music, and they were all dressed in a goat head. So they had like a thing over their face with that looked like a goat head. She did not cover up her face, but she had the thing on her head with the horns. But the others, they have that goat, like a mask on their face with the goat head to signify Baphomet. Amen. To signify Baphomet. And so I think the thing was she wanted to go to all the schools and sing a particular song, and then somebody expose her and expose what that song is all about, and that song should not be around the children, and her request was denied. But I think it was a pastor who exposed the song and behind it. So we have to be very careful, even as adults, what songs you listen to, because there are people that goes to the recording studio, and for some reason they decide that when they're doing most of their recordings, they do it late at night. When everybody's asleep, that's when they go, and that's when the witches are with them. And some of them, they will be in one booth cutting the music, and the witches will be in another booth, and they'll be chanting. So when they're making the music, the chant will go along with the words. So when they play the music, the demons will jump out of the music, and they will literally attach themselves to the people who listen to the lyrics. And that's why the Bible said, guard your ear gate, your eye gate, your mouth gate, any kind of portal you have on your body. You have to guard it, because the enemy that we're up against is very, very smart. Today we're going to look at the spirit of Jezebel. What is the spirit of Jezebel? I know many people have heard about the spirit of Jezebel. And you have heard about the name Jezebel. That's one name that you should never give your child. As a matter of fact, I don't know anyone outside of the Jezebel in the Bible called Jezebel. I remember once someone called me and were asking me, what do you think about this name? I'm gonna have they were gonna have a baby, and they were going to name the baby Atalia. And I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, that wicked woman in the Bible? Actually, I was Jezebel's daughter. I said, you're really going to name your child of Jezebel's daughter? That wicked woman who killed all the king's children so that she could rule and reign like what her mother did? And she said, I didn't know that. The name have a good meaning. But I said, no, go back and look. These people are they were Phoenician, Syro-Phoenician, from what we call today Lebanon, and they were pagan worshippers. So when she go back now and do a research on the name, not from the name book, but on the name, she changed that name. But we first heard about Jezebel in 1 Kings 16. There is just always a negative connotation with Jezebel. If they call you a Jezebel, it's not a compliment. So we're going to look at who was this woman and why is her spirit alive. And we know her spirit is alive because God told John in the book of Revelation that this woman, the spirit of this woman is alive. So we have to now guard our heart that that spirit will not attach itself to us. As a child of God and as somebody who have the Holy Ghost, spirits can attach themselves to you. You have to cleanse yourself at all time and make sure you're not carrying any load or carrying anyone that not supposed to be there, because the spirit of Jezebel, you will see, it comes to shut you up. It comes to make you quiet. It comes to take away your voice. Jezebel used intimidation. Jezebel used different methodologies just to shut you up and make you silent. But I will not be silent. Whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, I will not be silent. It would take a lot to silence me. Amen. I just ask God for the grace and the, what I call it now, the endurance to endure, but you're not going to silence me. That is one of the main purpose of Jezebel, is to silence the voice of the people who stand up for God. And you will see that very shortly. So 1 Kings chapter 16, the first mention, and I just see one of my favorite people, Sister Marjorie, signing it. So the first mention of Jezebel is in 1 Kings 16. And we're going to read a few verses. Where is my cursor? I'm looking for my cursor. Hold on a minute. All right, now I see it. It disappeared for a while. All right. 1 Kings 16. 1 Kings 16, starting from verse 30. And Ahab, the son of Omri, did evil in the sight of the Lord above all that were before him. And it came to pass, as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal, or the name is Baal, but we're so accustomed to saying Baal, and worship him. Now you see that word Zidonians is spelled sometimes with a Z, sometimes it is spelled with an S. It's the same people from Tyre, and if you're a Phoenician, if you're from Tyre, if you're from Zidon or Sidon, it's in Lebanon, the same area. So we see here from verse 30 that the children of Israel had backslidden from God from the reign of Jeroboam, the son of Solomon. When they came to Jeroboam and says, your father taxed us a lot. Please ease up the 50%, ease up the 70%. I remember when I was in high school and I was studying law, when I was at the community college and I was studying law. I wanted to be a lawyer at one time. And I was studying law. And my law teacher was from India. And he was teaching at our school because he said in India at the time, the taxation was 70%. 70% of what you earn go to the government as taxes, and only 30% is what you get. So when they leave their country and go anywhere and work, they can have more money than being in their country. And that's why you see them leaving their country. The taxation was so harsh. We would call that harsh. Not even 50% you get. Not even 50% of what you work goes to the government. That's a very bad, what you call it, a government that cannot handle yourself, that you take 50% of the people's pay for taxes. That's way too much. And so they said, lower the tax and we will serve you. And the older man says, yes, do it. The people will be faithful to you, and you will have loyal subjects. And he went to his peers, and they told him, my little finger is going to be like my father's right hand or fist. And they said, okay, we have no lot and part in you, Judah. We are leaving. And Jeroboam went and took 10 of the tribes with him. And then Rehoboam, sorry. Solomon's son was Rehoboam. And so Jeroboam took 10 tribes. And when Rehoboam wanted to fight him, God said, do not fight him, because I'm not going to give you victory. If you go fight them, they're going to kill you, because I'm not with you. Let them go. Let them go. For all the sin that Solomon did, I'm dividing the kingdom. I'm the one behind it. Let them go. And so from then we have 10 tribes called Israel. And then we have the 2 tribes that was called Judah, because they were in what we call now Bethlehem or the West Bank or Gaza. They remain. And then you have Levi and Benjamin, who was always joined with Judah. Benjamin and Judah would always go together. And Judah was one of the largest tribe. And because the Levites were the priests and the porters and the praise and worship team and the musician, of course, they stay where the temple was. So they live, a lot of them, in Judah. And so when the 10 tribes left, they came over. And so Judah was not just pure Judah. Judah was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Some mixed in. So it was 10 against 2, because Benjamin was a small tribe. Some went with Judah, some went with Israel. So they were backslidden, and they were worshiping idols. And of course, Solomon, to please his many wives and his many secondary wife concubines, he had groves and altars all over the place where people would go and they could worship any god that you want. So when Ahab's father was a wicked king, his grandfather was a wicked king. But when you thought that those 2 people were wicked, here comes Ahab. And Ahab said, now I'm going to show you wickedness. I'm going to step over the line. I'm going to marry a Gentile. And as wicked as his father and grandfather was, at least they were staying in the guidelines of marrying your own people. He went, I'm going over to Et Baal. I'm going to sign a pact. I'm going to make an agreement with King Et Baal, and I'm going to marry his daughter. And her name was Jezebel. Et Baal was not only a king, he was a priest of the religion of Baal worship in Lebanon. He was a king and he was a priest. That's why that name was attached to his name, to signify he was a worshiper of Baal. All right? So Ahab was one of those wicked kings. Until we met with Manasseh, then Ahab was wicked until Manasseh said, you ain't seen nothing yet. All right? So we can see, if you go further back, even from verse 20, and if you can see what Ahab was doing. In the 38-year reign of Asa, king of Judah, Ahab began to reign over Israel, and Ahab reigned in Samaria 22 years. Remember, Israel made Samaria their capital, just like Judah had Jerusalem as their capital. So they make themselves capital, and we know the story. Jeroboam set up a golden calf, one in Dan, one in Beersheba. You don't go to Jerusalem. We have our own priest, and he made his priest and whatever. So when we pick up the story now from verse 32, we had First Kings now, verse 32. And he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he built in Samaria. So here comes Ahab, and you're married to this princess and she's accustomed to worshiping her God. So she said, "Oh no, Abi, I need an altar to worship my God. There is no apostolic church here. There is no Pentecostal church here. There is not even an evangelical church here. So I need a place to worship." And he said, "All right, I'm going to build you an altar." And he built her an altar in the house of Baal, which was in Samaria. And Ahab made a grove. He made a place. This is in the open now. Because when you worship these gods, it is required sometimes you have to offer sacrifice. And sometimes it's animal sacrifice, and sometimes it is human sacrifice. And you have temple prostitutes. So you have to make a grove, as Isaiah would say, under every green tree or under every poplar tree. These people were doing abomination. And Ahab did more to provoke the God of Israel than all the other kings that were before him. Ahab came, and Ahab began to do wickedly. And of course, we can see why. He had a wife beside him who was now motivating, inspiring him, and telling him, "You can do this. I need a place. I need to be comfortable. We have a home in the city, but when we go out in the countryside for our vacation, I don't have nowhere to worship Baal. So I want an altar over here, an altar over there." It is very important whom you marry. Who you marry is extremely important. Your spouse can either make you or break you. Who you marry, extremely important. Extremely important. It's better sometimes if you're by yourself than if you're married to a Jezebel or an Ahab, because they can either empower you to do better or they can bring you down to nothing. A good woman would empower, strengthen, and help her husband establish his kingdom. A bad wife will destroy it, because he's going to be making the money and she's going to be taken out to Mace, to not even Macy, but to Zara and to Nordstorm, and she's going to be spending it fast. As fast as he make it, she's going to be buying the Birchkin, and she's going to be buying the other stuff that people spend money on, because he's going to be making it and she's going to be spending it. And if he says, I'm going to give fix my mother's roof, why you have to spend money fix your mother's roof? That roof can last her another year. Get some tar and put on the zinc and patch the roof. And I need money to go shopping. It's very important who you're attached to, who you are yoked with. And which is why the Bible said, "Do not be unequally yoked," because two won't walk together unless they be agreed. Past tense. You have to settle that agreement before you are yoked together. Because if you want to go to the club and you want to go to church, that's a problem. If you want to grow the children a certain way to serve God, and the other party said, "Well, let them go enjoy themselves, they're young," you're going to have a problem. It's going to be a problem. If you want to save money, if you have gold, if you want to build a business, and the other person just want to live like the Joneses, you're going to have a problem. If you're a kind person and you're married to a mean person, you're going to be in misery with that person. Two must walk together when they be agreed. And when two people are agreed for good, it's a beautiful thing. And when two people are agreed for evil, then Lord have mercy. When you have an Ahab and a Jezebel, you're going to ask God for mercy. You're going to ask God for mercy. Very, very important who you married to. Sometimes we have, like I said, political union. All the kingdoms in Europe right now, they are related by Saxe Goldberg. All one family, out of Germany, out of Prussia. One family. Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, Liechtenstein, Greece, Spain, England, Portugal, Denmark, all those people, they are one family. They are related by blood. They are blood relative. Blood relative. Every now and again, someone step out and say, you know what? I'm going to do something different. Monaco. I'm going to marry somebody out like when Prince Rainer married to Grace Kelly, an American actress and divorcee. Every now and again, someone step out, but they're all one family. Queen Elizabeth II, who was married to Prince Philip. Prince Philip was Prince of Spain and Greece. Why? Because he has Grecian blood and he has Spanish blood and he was related to Elizabeth by blood. Because remember, at one time they thought all the bloodline must stay intact. And so you do not marry out of your bloodline. They only begin to go further abroad when they realized that they were getting mad. They were getting mentally challenged children. They were mongoloid and they were literally crazy. The blood was too close. Then they begin to go to, instead of marrying to your sister, which they used to do, brother and sister married, then they begin to go to fifth cousin, how many times removed. But the bloodline basically stayed intact. So Jezebel was of royal lineage. She was royalty. So she was accustomed to commanding a certain presence and amount of respect in her country. So coming over to Israel now in a foreign country, she didn't expect, well, she didn't plan to have nothing less. You may not know me, and I'm the king's wife, so I'm the queen, but you're going to know me because I'm not used to being in the background. I'm used to being on the front page. And she did put herself on the front page. And in a lot of sense, she was running the country. One of the problems that we have in the church, as I said, this is going to be the spirit of Jezebel. Women that don't know their place. Women that are running the household. It doesn't matter if you're more educated than your spouse, he's the head of the house. It doesn't matter if you think you're smarter than him, he's the head of the house. If you are saved longer than him, he's the head of the house. It doesn't matter whatever you think, he's the head of the house. And the head of the house must get the reverence and the respect that they're due. Because when you don't do that, you're not honoring God. Because if you honor God, you will do what God says. And God says the man is the head of the house. And that same God knew that the woman could run the house. He knew that. But God will deal with us to the point of our weakness. So when God was talking to the man, he says, husband, love your wives. He never tell the woman to love their husband. Never. Because women will love a person who love them. Even if you don't start out loving the person who love you, but when a person love you, and all you see that the person just want you to be happy and do for you, you will then love them. And that's why some people tell her, when I first met my husband, I didn't even like him. I couldn't stand a bone in him and a da-da-da. And now you end up so in love with a person. Why? When person consistently treat you with love, dignity, and respect, women will reciprocate and they will love. So God never tell a woman love the husband. He tell the husband love the wife. Why? Because men are selfish. Me. It's all about me. So God talked to the man at the point of his weakness. Love your wife just as you love yourself. Treat your wife the way you treat yourself. Don't take all the money and spend it on you. Spend some on your wife. There was this couple on divorce court back in the days. And divorce court, the man came and it was a tall, slim black man. And the wife didn't look so bad herself, but they made a nice couple. They look so good together. But the problem the woman have is that every penny the guy made, he buy it on outfit. He spent on himself. He wore the most expensive suits. And he even coming to divorce court. He was in a 3-piece suit and his shoe match. He just looked like he was going to a wedding. And she said, this is the problem we're having, Your Honor. We're living in an apartment. We're paying rent. I want us to have a better life. I want us to do this. I want us to do that. We make money, and this man spend every penny that we make, because as the money comes in, it goes on himself. And I'm so tired of talking to him. And she was going to divorce him. And the judge said no, and the judge talked to the man and said, there's nothing wrong with looking good. But your first responsibility is to take care of your household. And the man had all kind of excuse for why he make the money and he's going to the shop to buy the clothes, to buy the shoes, because he don't know who he is. He really didn't know who he is. And because he didn't know who he is, who he was his clothing and his shoes and how he carry himself. He put everything he have into that, including his marriage. So she was able to talk the woman out of divorcing him, and he promised to do better. Then they came back several years after. Your Honor, nothing changed. This man made the money. We make good money. We can't get along further in life. We have no savings. We have no home. We're paying rent. We cannot save because he spent all his money is on his back. And he has not changed. That man didn't know who he was. Didn't know who he was. So sometimes the men may be lost. And they may be spending money on alcohol or sports or buying the latest gadgets or doing their collection of this or collection of that. They may be lost. But women have a knack for how to get men to fall in line with the program while still maintaining his dignity.
I'm going to sit over there and face the door.
Still maintaining his dignity. What you don't want is for the man to feel like he's nothing. All right? And there are ways to get around it. There are ways you can pray, you can talk to him, you can say, okay, this is how we're going to do. We have a budget and we're going to stick to the budget. So sometimes it's hard. But even when it's hard, you have to honor God by doing it God's way. When we have women running the household, chaos and confusion, we can see, and I'm going to show you later on, how women running the household have produced a generation of men who behave like women. You have men nowadays, they will curse the very clothes off your back because they can curse and they can argue because they were brought up with women. And mommy say, do this. And they say, no, I'm not doing it. And she said, you must do this because. Fathers don't explain a word to their son. They say, boy, pick up the trash. And he go pick it up. End of conversation. And if you open your mouth to talk to him, he give you a backhand. So you're not going to backtrack your father, but they backtrack their mother. And the women love to talk. Women love to talk. So we give explanation. Oh, I want you to take out the garbage. Tomorrow is garbage day, and if you take it out now, men don't have no time for no explanation. I tell you, take out the trash, I'm finished talking. And if you don't take out the trash, you'll see what I do with it if you don't take out the trash. But I'm finished talking once I tell you what to do. So we have a generation of boys that they argue like girls. You get them upset, they get all emotional, and they will fight women because they get emotional because they were raised by women, and women are emotional. Men are logical, and they go with logic. Something falls from you and it is broken, and you're there crying. Why are you crying? It's broken. Your tear's not going to let it come back. All you have to do, pick it up and buy another one. That's logic. But the women want to cry because they just feel so sad that it's broken. Men have no time to feel sad because it's broken. It's broken, clean it up, buy another one. End of the story. But the emotional woman who raised the boys to be emotional. And so we have a generation of men who don't know to honor women because they are like women in a lot of sense because they are emotional men. And then we have society telling them to get in touch with their feminine side. The feminine side of a man and his wife. If you don't have no wife, you don't have no feminine side. This foolishness about you must get in touch with your feelings. That's for women who always feeling. Our job is not to make men into women. You want company to talk with and to do all these things. Call your girlfriends. Leave your husband alone. They can't take all that noise and talking around them too long. Unless you're talking sports or something that interests them. Let them be them and you be you. That's why God put Adam and Eve together. It wasn't for Eve to change Adam and Adam to change Eve. No. Let the men be men. Nothing bothered them. The house dirty. Okay, they walk right past it. They're not looking at the things that you're looking at. But that's okay for you as a woman. Just don't expect them to be you. And I think a lot of women expect men to act like women. Men are not women. They're not women. That's why you have girlfriends. Stop trying to make your husband your girlfriend. Your husband is not your girlfriend. He's your husband. But when we have the thing out of alignment, where the women are running the household and the men are emasculated, it's just chaos and confusion. We have a lot of people, they're married for a long time, but they're very unhappy. They are very unhappy because as a person, if you think, even as women, if you think you're being disrespected by your husband, you know how bad you feel. Nobody want to disrespect them. And imagine you married 20, 30, 40, 50 years and you feel so disrespected, undervalued, and unappreciated. And that's the complaint from men. Disrespected, undervalued, and unappreciated. And because we can talk so much, they just shut down and just go very quiet. They're not saying a word. Because if they open their mouth, you're going to chop it off. So they just keep their mouth shut. And you're right. They're not saying a word. When they meet with another man now, they can tell him, my wife is A, B, C, and D. But they're not saying anything. And it shouldn't be like that. Because these people are truly not happy. Recently, I was talking to some men and they were saying, how the church is out of order. And they said, Sister Monica, we need you to go and teach the women because the women they're really out of order and they're not treating the men right. And they were talking among themselves and they came to the conclusion that only you can set them straight because you're not afraid to tell them the truth because we can't tell them the truth. These were people married for 30 odd years. And can you imagine you're married with a person for 30 odd years, you're sleeping in the same bed, you're exchanging fluids, the man is changing the women. And yet you're afraid to tell them really what's on your heart because they know once you say what you really believe, they're going to come for your head. They're coming for your head. A guy recently said on Facebook, he was being interviewed And he said, I would not marry a woman who have tattoo. Who tell him to say that? The woman they came for they didn't come for his head. They came for his private. Oh, that man is a gay. I look at him and he look like he's on the down low. He looks sissy. He's well dressed and well spoken. Oh my, I know that was the sign that he was gay because he spoke very well. This man has standards. And he says, my wife must not have her arms and body full of tattoo. And the women, if they could kill him through the Facebook, they would kill the man. And so it is in the home. And that's not a good place to live. That's not a happy marriage. That is what you call it. We're going along to get along. And sometimes people after 45 years, they say, you know what? I'm tired. I have been oppressing and I've been oppressed and repressed for so long. Let me go get some peace before I die. And people walk away. 45 years, 40 years. And I'm saying, why in the world would you marry somebody for 45 years and walk away? That's most of your life. But they're doing it. They're doing it because they can't be their real self. And I can't correct you or say what I feel because you're going to bite off my head. So I have to just hold everything in. And while I'm holding everything in, you are at liberty to express yourself and tell me whatever, however you want to tell me. When you want to tell me, you can do it. And you can scream at me like a banshee, but I can raise my voice at you, but you can scream at me. And there are women who slap the men around. Slap them. You don't do what I say. I remember one time I was at church and somebody had asked their husband to pick up something at the store. And he forgot. And she said, watch how I go and punish him. Wait for me and him. And I said, my God, is that your child? And that's what came to me. Is that your child? When he asks you to do something and you forget, how does he punish you? We're human beings and we forget things. And you ask somebody to do something and they forget. Show them some grace. Show them some grace. So you know how many times I pick up my phone to give somebody a number to do something they asked me for, and I'm answering a message here, answering a text here, and I finish and put back the phone and walk away from the phone, and I did not do what I pick up the phone to do. 2-3 days later, Sister Monica, I texted you 2 weeks ago. I said, why you wait 2 weeks to text me the second time? You know I'm gonna forget. And even when I leave the text open, I don't read it so I could stay on the top. Once I send out the flyer on a Thursday, all those things go way, way down to the bottom. Just send me another text. I said, why you wait 2 weeks to tell me that I didn't answer you? 1, 2, 3, I just hooked them up with what they wanted me to do for them. I said, I could have done this easily if you did just send me a reminder the following day or even the same day. And I say, I'm doing it now. And I just do it now. But grace, show your spouse some grace. Watch how I'm going to punish him. And we all know how wives punish your husband. Watch how I'm going to punish him. That's not right. You're not supposed to be punishing your husband. Would you want God to punish you for every little thing you did? You think God don't see us do things and God overlook because we're under grace? He overlook a lot. Don't you think people overlook a lot of things that you do? The other day, someone criticized me for, oh, you didn't do this. You missed something that I was to do. And I said, okay, I'm sorry. I'll do it next time. And then I found that person did something that was what you would call a fragrant foul. This was almost criminal what they did. And I just laughed. I said, you see, when you criticize other people, that's what God allowed you to do. Because what you did was so wrong. And for 1 minute, I said, you know what? I'm going to pick up the phone and call them and ask them, did you do so and so? Because, there are some nice ways you can get people. And I said, you know what? Forget about it. I said, forget about it. Because you accuse me for one, you do four, and your four is really, really, really bad. But if you did show some grace, then you wouldn't mess up so badly the way you mess up. But I said, even though you're doing sure to me, I'm just gonna leave it alone. Grace that we must show to our spouse. The relationship between Ahab and Jezebel. And we talk about that in Can These Marriages Survive? There is a thing on it on Ahab and Jezebel. That was not a good, that was a good marriage in that they were united for evil, but it was a bad marriage because a lot of things was wrong in that marriage because Jezebel was in charge. But how many marriages we see where the woman is in charge? The man can't even move, and he cannot move a pin because his wife is in charge. And he will tell you, and some of them tell a joke, let's say, ask the boss. Can you do so and so? And they will say, go check with the boss. Because they know who the boss is. If your husband is calling you the boss and say, go check with the boss, that's not good. It may sound funny or humorous, but deep down in his heart, that is how he sees you, as the boss. His employer, do this, do that. Where's your report? I'm waiting on the report. I'm waiting on this. Did you do that? Where's your checklist? Da 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 da. Because boss pushed the employee around. What time did you come to work? Let me get your card. What time did you check in? Why you didn't do this? Why you didn't do it? That's how employer treat employee. And they are at will to hire you and fire you. They tell you when to come, they tell you when to go. They say, no, you're not taking a vacation at this time. No, you can't do this. No, you can. When your husband calls you the boss, that's not a compliment. That's not a compliment. Because it's from a place of being oppressed and suppressed. I can't even think until you tell me to think. I can't exhale unless I get permission from you to exhale. Jezebel propelled herself into a place of dominance. And remember, she was not even in her native land. You are now a foreign queen, and yet she took over the throne and she ruled the people. This is what you call, there's a relation that they call it dominatrix. They have even turned this dynamics into into a sexual entertainment where the people get a lot of money, where the woman is what they call the dominatrix because you're the one in charge. And I've seen it on TV where they have different things where they dress in these black, like lingerie, black leather lingerie, and some of them have whip and they have belt. And they said, was Johnny a good boy? No, no, mommy. I was bad today, mommy. Bow, bow. And they beat you. And the men pay money for somebody to beat you. There was a couple on the Cutler's court or couple's court. And the woman, when they met, they were what they call regular people. But she got caught up in this dominatrix things where she said she is paid up to $5,000 per client to walk on the man back. So the man would be naked and he would be in a doggy position, and she would walk on his back in her high heel to punish him for what he did wrong that day, and beating him with a thing and get $5,000 from that one person. So when she have like 2-3 clients for a night, she's coming home with all $20,000-$25,000. And she got a job for the man to be the bartender, and he was making $1,500 on salary, not tips, just the salary for one night work. But he was saying, no, let's just be regular people. and let's just let it be just me and you. He said, I don't want to be in that lifestyle. And she was saying, but this, I'm rich in this lifestyle. I am powerful in this lifestyle. I just flash my whip. I beat men butts. I step on their back. I sink my heel down into them and punish them. And the judge said, you did what? She said, yes, they want to be punished. And I punish them and I make a lot of money. It's called a dominatrix. And the other person is called the submissive, because Jezebel was the dominatrix and Ahab was the submissive. She bark out the order and you say, yes, ma'am. Whatever you say, ma'am. Whenever you say, ma'am. But he was the king and she was the queen. But in fact, she was the king. She was the ruling monarch. And he was just one of her loyal subjects. And now how do we have that in the church? We're slick. You know we're slick in the church. The woman get the call, and the woman is the pastor, and the husband is the elder. The woman is the apostle, and the husband is the bishop. The woman is the prophetess, and the husband is the bishop or pastor. Or sometimes they even make them prophets because they don't want it to look too bad. Or sometimes they make the man the assistant pastor or the co-pastor or some kind of pastor. The man has no calling on his life to be in any leadership position, but to make it not look too bad, that I'm a woman and leading, you are pulling the man with you. But even then, if you're a female and you're a pastor, you are the pastor at church. You are the pastor for your husband at church. When you go home, you are his wife. You're not in charge of him in your home. Every man home must be his castle. A man home must be his castle. I'm the king over here. You two are something else. My husband say I'm his girlfriend. Right. So he's gonna court you forever. He's gonna be chasing you forever because you are the girlfriend. Right? So he still love you. He's not gonna put you on the shelf and say, oh, my wife, my better half, where she at home? No, because you know they're going to keep your girlfriend forever. He's going to be trying to please you forever, and he's not going to stop loving on you because you are his girlfriend. You're not the wife. Because some wife wants to act like you're my mother. You're not his mother, you're his girlfriend. So girlfriend behave one way and wives behave a certain way. They treat the men like they're little boys. So if you treat me like a boy, I'm going to be passive aggressive with you. Yeah. I'm going to be passive aggressive with you because you're treating me like a boy. Just like how you tell the children, go do this, go do that. You're just sending me, go do this, go do that, do this, do that. There is a way to tell people to do things and make them appreciate it and like it. Winston Churchill says, tact is T-A-C-T, tact is the ability to tell people to go to hell and let them look forward to the trip. Let that sink in. It says when you can tell somebody to go to hell and make them look forward to the trip, forgetting that going to hell is not a good thing. But you said it so nicely that they're looking forward to the trip. You can get people to do things. You can use honey or you can use vinegar. Unfortunately, Caribbean people believe in using vinegar. You can take the corn and say, come chick, 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 chick. When you want the chicken to come to you, say, chick, 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 chick. And once you say chick, chick, they just come running, running and they will literally take it out of your hands. Because I used to do that. You put the layer, the grower, or the starter in your hands, and they will come and they will peck and eat out of your hands. But if you ever take the corn and bam, and throw it, they'll be flying all over the place and making a lot of noise, and they'll be flying and coming back down there. They're running away from you. Although you're supposed to be feeding them, they don't want the food from you. Because now your food become a weapon of mass destruction. Your spouse you're not his mama. Tell him what to eat. Tell him when to sit down. Tell him when to stand up. And if you ever give him something and he say don't like it, who tell him not to like anything you did? This is a burnt offering. And he has to look at the burnt offering and says, I love the burnt offering. I appreciate the burnt offering. You know the food never cooked good. That's life. Sometimes you hit the season and everything just right, and another time something missing and you can't figure it out, and it don't come out the same way all the time. But why he has to say it tastes good just because you want him to say that, and if he don't say it tastes good, he knows the trouble he's in. I remember once I was in a hospital with a client of mine, and the you know, in the hospital, they give you your nutrition chart that you send in, and you fill it out what you want for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So this man took the chart and he was filling out his chart what he want for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the wife said, no, you don't like this. If he said, I want oatmeal, she said, no, you don't eat oatmeal. Take pancakes and syrup. Don't you think this man, 80-odd-year-old, know what he want for his breakfast? Pancake and syrup. Chicken or fish? He want fish. No, take chicken. Everything he said he wants, she said, no, that's not what you want. And he ordered the food. And when the food come, and because she ordered it, he just wait and he pretend like he's eating it. And the minute she turn her back, he said, throw this in the garbage. I throw it in the garbage. And then he eat the fruits and he eat what he wants. And she come and say, see, I told you that's what you eat. And he said, okay, you fool yourself. Fool yourself. Fool yourself that he eat the food. He wanted what he wanted. Why couldn't he have the oatmeal? You're not the one eating it. Why can't he have oatmeal if that's what he wants to eat? Why you must tell him that it's pancake and syrup he has to eat? And it's not a health issue. It's not like say, oh, you know you can't eat this. You know you're on restriction. That's a completely different story. It was not a health issue. It's a preference. You know you like this. And they just pass the thing to us with us, poops it. The minute you turn your back, just send you outside to go get the nurse for something. Throw these in the bathroom. We throw everything and leave the plate for you to feel, oh yes, I know you would, yeah. Yeah. Go with that. Go with that thought. Go with that thought. Because when you treat men a certain way, they're going to be passive aggressive. They don't want the fight. They don't want the fuss, but they'll get you in their own way. They will work late. They will work late so that they limit the time they have to spend with you before they go to their bed. They deliberately go to play domino or go to the bar or go to here and there. They don't want to go home. They don't want to go home. I can't sit here. Imagine I'm a grown man. Americans say grown ass man. I don't know why they have to add that word to it, but I'm a grown man. And this is my home. My home's supposed to be my safe place. Don't sit in that chair. You can't sit over that chair. Don't sit over that one. Don't put up your foot here. Don't put your foot anywhere you want to put your foot. Is your house. Here lies Monica, the wife of John Doe, and she have a clean house. When have you ever gone to a funeral and hear anybody talking about how clean your house was and how this and how that? Foolishness. A whole bunch of foolishness. Put plastic over the thing. Who want to sit on plastic? Plastic is hot. Why you buy the thing and put it over plastic and I can't sit on it? And the couch is comfortable and I'm sleeping in the couch and you're gonna tell me to go in the bed. If I didn't want to go in the bed, I would go in the bed. Leave me in the couch. Some couches are very comfortable to sleep in. I had a couch like that. I would sleep in it sometimes rather than my bed because it was just so comfortable. When people come to my home, I say, no, 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 you take the bed, you take the bed. I mean, that couch was so comfortable. And you're going to even tell me where to sleep, and it's my house. You just have to order every place of my life. Behind me, pee, pee, cluck, cluck. Everything I do, you have to say something. Why we don't learn to zip it, zip it, zip it, zip it? Give the man space to breathe, Jezebel. Jezebel, let him breathe. Let him think. Even if he make a mistake, let is his mistake. Let him make his mistake. And if you like the rice soft and you like it hard, cook the hard rice for yourself. Cook some soft rice for the man. Don't tell him this is the way to eat it. My mother did that to my father. My mother liked the rice hard. My father liked the rice soft. And she would give him the hard rice. Never argue with her. My father talked one time. Not arguing with no woman. He's too intelligent to do that. All he did is scrape out the rice into a little pot. He put some water on it and he boiled it until it's soft to his liking, and then he put it back on his plate and he eating his soft rice. Don't give me no hard rice and tell me that is better than the soft rice. So you know now I can cook hard rice, right? Because I cook soft rice. Because I live with my father for all these years. It was me and him. So he liked the rice soft. So anytime I think it tastes good to me, I put a little tip of water. And my father is dead now, how much years, and I still cook the rice soft. And I said, why you don't stop cook the soft rice? But it is so natural that when I think it's right, I go and put the last tip of water, and always the last tip of water take it over. And I say I'm not even cooking for my father no more, and I still cook the rice soft. And I remember one day I was cooking for someone in the church who was sick, and I said to the wife, I'll cook the meat kind and I'll prepare the meal. I said, I'll give you the rice and you cook it for him, because I said, I cannot cook rice shelly or hard. I'm going to cook it soft because I did it for years, and I'm going to mess it up. She said, no, 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 you cook it. My husband likes soft rice and I have to cook it soft. And I was so happy I cooked the rice because I'm going to cook it soft. If somebody likes soft rice, why are you going to give them hard rice and tell them that's what they must eat? Why is it that you can decide, I like this, I like that, I don't like this, I don't like that, but your husband dare not like anything you don't like? Because you have to like for him, and you have to tell him what he like. This woman came to me one time and she was complaining on her husband. She's cooking rice and peas and for him on Sunday, and soursop juice and carrot juice. The man is a Black American. He wants steaks and potato and Pepsi. And she said, I'm just gonna leave him. I'm gonna leave him. She said one day she got so mad that he didn't want the food that she get in the car and drive away and tell him she's gonna leave him. I said, stop. Give the man rice and peas. I said, stop, give him carrot juice. I said, stop, give him soursop juice. I said, he told you he wants steaks and potato. I said, give the man steaks and potato. But I'm a Jamaican, and that's what they cook on Sundays. You know, we cook rice and peas. I said, your husband is not Jamaican. Why are you giving him a Jamaican man dinner? That a Jamaican man would appreciate that. Rice and peas and the soursop juice, and you get the soursop. I said the man don't know soursop juice and him don't like it, and him tell you don't make it for him, but you insist on giving him soursop juice. and how him don't appreciate you. I said, the man, tell her what he appreciate. I said, mashed potato, steaks. I said, don't give him Pepsi. Pepsi not good for nobody. But put the juice there. Let him buy his own Pepsi because Pepsi, nobody should drink it. It takes out the calcium out of your bones. I said, don't give it to him so he won't be on your conscience that he's drinking Pepsi, which is not good for him. But I said, at least put the juice there, but give the man mashed potato and steaks. He's an American, and that's what he grow on Sunday, and you grow up. Cook your rice and peas and eat it for yourself. That's not a hard solution. It's not a hard solution. Why would you marry to somebody and trying to change them to become you? I hate people try to change me. I wouldn't want to marry to nobody who try to change me. I don't want to be you. There's a lot of things I eat and don't eat, things I like and don't like. And when you're living with someone, you have to learn to get along with them. So I know when people are around me, oh, I'm behaving different. But when I'm in my house, you can't tell me not to walk naked in my house unless you come in here and paying the mortgage. Keep out of my business. My house, my castle. You understand? This is my castle. So when you have dominatrix women, and they love their husband. I'm not saying you don't love your husband. You love your husband, but loving them don't make up for trying to control every aspect of their life. I remember I had a client one time and they were in their 90s and they were married for like 72 years. They were married. And this is the most annoying woman I've ever met in my life. And I don't know how this man lived with this woman. She was annoying. She was like 4'6". She was very small, but she was annoying. Everything the man likes, she don't like it. If he's eating his food, she says, eat faster. If he's eating fast, she said, slow down. When we would take the man into the bathroom, the man want to poop, and we take him into the bathroom because he walks with a walker, and I'm walking behind him, and we lock the door. I remember one time I never locked the door, and she come with her walker, and she opened the door to look to make sure. And I said, what in the world are you doing? Can you help him poop? She come in there to watch him poop, to make sure he was pooping right. Now, those things are, to me, just absolutely disgusting. There is no need to behave like that. Every now and again, when he's with her, he would fall. And then they would have to call 911, and 911 would come to pick him up off the floor. And the fireman look at him and they say, man, hats off to you. I don't think I'll ever meet anybody like you. And they asked this man in front of his wife, how do you stay married to her for so long? They have come to that house enough to know how disgusting the woman is. They come and they're trying to take him up from off the floor, and she's telling them how to take him up off the floor. She just cannot stop. She just cannot stop. Controlling everything around her, have to be in charge of everything. That even the firemen, when they came in, she's telling them how to do their job. And they said, I don't know how you do it. And they said, man, you deserve a medal. And that's what they told him. They said, you deserve a medal because I could not do what you did. And what they did when they would come to the house and she's there and she's talking, they just pretend like she's not there. They just ignore her. They just ignore her and just focus on the man. She just not waiting to stop. 72 years. And I'm there and I'm saying, how in the world this man remained married to this woman? Because sometimes I just want to shut her up. She never stopped talking. When he's eating his breakfast, and we say, okay, you go ahead and eat your breakfast. No, she's not going to eat her breakfast. She has to watch him eat, and how everything he put into his mouth, she has to be commentating on everything. Why don't you just eat your breakfast? Eat your breakfast. He's having his breakfast. You have your breakfast too. No, If she's eating her breakfast, then she can't watch him like she want to watch him. Jezebel, dominatrix, dominating, dominating the man. And this is in the church. It's in the church. See it all around us. When the man was talking to me the other day, and this was in my church, and he said, "You don't understand, you know," and his voice broke like he wanted to cry, and he catch himself, and he composed himself, and he began to talk. And he says, "I don't go to these couple meetings, you know, because they're not talking about the real things. They're ignoring the issue." And I says, "I know they're ignoring the issue, but you know why they're ignoring the issue? It takes a certain boldness or courage to, when you see people doing wrong, to say it's wrong, because they blacklist you when you talk out the truth. And not everybody want to do that. Not everybody want to be in that position. And so sometimes they just act like everything is okay, but they know it's not okay. But think about it. I'm not married. And these married people were talking, and they said, "You need Sister Monica to teach these women, the married women, because the church is so out of order, and the women, they're not doing right. And they're asking a single woman to set them straight. But it can't be done in a public forum, but I can do it here. See if I can help the body of Christ." Lady Pauline, go ahead, because I'm done. I'm over the time. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Mac, I'm listening to you, right? It sounds to me like a wife like that. It's compulsive, a compulsion she has, and probably don't even realize that she's doing that to her husband, and not
Yeah,
doing that to him probably makes her feel out of control. Because I
yeah.
personally know someone like that, and that person told me she feel like she's God gift to the man. And I would observe and wonder why she does the stuff she does to her husband. And he just sit and looks at her. He don't say anything. Probably he's accustomed to it. And I'm listening to you, and
Yeah.
I'm like, probably she don't realize that she do have a problem. She has to control everything. If she's away from the house, she have to call the house. She have to check in. She have to do it 100 times. And I remember one time I was observing her, and I'm like, this don't make no sense. This is madness. How do you live like that? How do you breathe? If you can't be around, you just have to constantly, like your claws are in this person. I could never do this to Robert, because that is so tiring, and it's so tiring. But I'm listening to you, and I'm like, what if these people don't realize what they're doing? What they don't,
I don't,
what they honestly don't realize that they're control freaks and controlling their husband, their children, their entire family. They just have to control every situation. What if they
most
don't know they're doing it?
Yeah, most people don't know they are doing it because internally their life is out of control. So when they can control every moving part, then it creates a safety buffer for them. So
Gotcha.
when they
Sounds
know where
okay.
this is here, this is here, this is here, then that's how they can relax when they have their hand on anything and everything. But if they take their hands off everything, and they don't know where you are, then they're internally they're freaking out. So they do
Yeah.
it. I tell her, this woman, look, she was like 4 feet 6, a tiny little thing, and this man was like 6 feet. And actually, I took the man to the bathroom, and I forgot to lock the door, and she pushed the door to come in to make sure he was pooping right. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, but
That's,
maybe she don't realize that. Maybe
yeah, but she
maybe
just
maybe
coming to check. That's what I'm saying. She
maybe
come to
she
check
thinks she's
on
doing.
him.
Yeah, but maybe she
Right.
thinks really honestly, maybe
She's
she thinks
helping
she
him.
that's what she needs to do. Maybe she thinks that people are like that. But
And some of them, when you tell them, they cannot see what you're
no,
saying
no, they
because they don't
can't.
believe they're doing anything wrong, because she loved this
Yeah,
man. She loved her
yeah.
husband. And I remember one time this man can't even stand, and he was lifting up his walker to hit her with it. And I had to grab it from him.
Oh God.
Because no matter how we tell her just to stop, to stop, she don't stop because she's helping him. I don't need your help, just stop. She would not stop. She would
Dr.
not
Monica,
stop.
that's different. That's different what you're just
Some
talking
of them
about now.
don't know,
Yeah.
but even when they
Yeah.
don't know, they don't agree.
Yeah.
They don't agree. Some of them do it unconsciously,
Yeah.
and maybe the husband is too afraid to say, I'm a grown man.
He
Let
just
me
goes
make
with the flow. He just used to the compulsive
let me
behavior.
make my
Yeah.
let me make my own mistake. We all make mistake. I make mistake all the
Yeah.
time. It's my mistake. Let me learn from it. You understand? It's the same thing like raising up children. You cannot be a helicopter parent. Let them fall down because they will know what it is to fall down. Let them experience life. It's like the 16-year-old boy I was telling you about. His parents planned his entire life for him. They give him everything he wants. He killed himself. He said, what do I have to live for? I don't have nothing to live for. If I think something, they do it. They don't allow him to work. They don't allow him to do this. He can't do nothing. They think for him. They do everything for him. So why am I here? He said, I check out. I kill myself. Now you continue with your life. Everything all planned. You know, so when you don't allow the child to put their hand on the stove, let them get themselves burnt. They will never do it again. The same way you learn, let them fall down. Why you don't want them to fall down? It's like I told you, there was this nurse who have a child late in life. And when the child would be playing with the ball, and when he bounced the ball down, she come and grab the ball, wipe it with the baby wipe and give it to him. And he bounced the ball and she catch it. Can you imagine that poor boy? I feel so sorry for that boy. I feel so sorry for him. I don't even know if he grew up and come to anything because, oh my God, he had all kind of what do you call it now, psychosomatic sickness because she wouldn't allow him to touch the ground with his foot. And we're from dirt. You have to be grounded in the earth. He couldn't touch dirt because she was a nurse like 40 odd years and she knew about pathology and germs and virus and bacteria. You have to allow people to experience things for themselves. I do not, my sister is a nurse and she's kind of like that because my mother was like that. But I don't keep my house 100% germ free. I want my immune system to be fighting all the time and keep in shape. I don't want it to sit down lazy because no germs coming in my body. So when germs come, it's like, oh, what is this? I don't know what is this. No, I want it to be fighting all the time and keeping tip-top condition. So that's where I don't get sick. And I said to her, forget about what you know in nursing sometime and just act normal because your body need bacteria because your lymphatic system need to be fighting all the time. And if there's no bacteria, it's not fighting. And if it's not fighting, it's lazy, you're going to get sick. But we have to be cleaning everything. I don't clean everything like that. The food drop on the floor, depending on what it is, I throw it away. It drop again, I blow it and it going in my mouth. Let the lymphatic system do its job. Attack every bacteria that I just put in. Let it work for me. And so sweet, we have to allow people to make their own mistake. And I know sometimes the wife think they're helping their husband because he's deficient in something. Well, if he's deficient in something, don't emasculate him to show your superiority in the thing. Do you want me to help you with this? Because I know you don't like balancing the checkbook. You want me to balance your checkbook for you? But I'll say, give me your idiot. Where you sit down and pretend like you know what to do. That's rude. You want me to do this for you? Just like the way you change your tire and take off the car because women don't want to be bothered with those things. So I know you don't want to be bothered balancing your checkbook, but I can do it for you. It's a completely different story. But we must allow people to live their own life because when you crowd people and crowd them, mankind was not made to be under any kind of slavery. No kind of slavery. There's gonna come a day when it's gonna be rebellion. And rebellion is I'm gonna go out there and get a woman that is a daddy. Everything that you're not, that make me feel good about myself. to spite you. And you say, look at the man of his nice wife and his family and home and walk away to go take up a woman with 7 children. Because that woman with 7 children, oh, come, baby. Oh, look at my boo. You boo this, you boo that. You're so strong. You think they don't know how to butter up those men? Because they know what they're going through at home. You want to go there? Okay. You want me to come with you? No? All right. Where are you? What you doing? Who you with? Jezebel. And sometimes if we're grown up in that environment, we want to continue doing those things because that's what we see. Let me look at the other comments. We're over our time. Let me see what this person was saying. Because I see this so much, I'm taking care. I had a husband and wife in a facility. He requested to be placed in a separate room. He got up from the breakfast table where he meets her every day. He went upstairs, sat on the toilet, and died there. She was devastated. Yeah. He requested to be put in a separate room and they put him together. They put him in the same room with her. Yeah. Sometimes they're just so tired. Just tired of women. My husband don't like pimento in rice and peas. Yeah, don't put it in there. If you like it, do it for you. Don't do it for him. Why should people have to do what we like because we're the women? Don't you know this is the 21st century? Other women looking after your husband and other men checking out your husband. The Bible says 7 women gonna come to an agreement and say, let's take Tom. And I'm wife number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We take care of ourselves. We have our own house. We have our own car. We have our own thing. And now just put the ring on our finger. Whoa, I'm married. And I'm number 7. Go check it out what's happening right now. Neo is in a relationship, the singer, right now with 4 women. And they all live one big happy family. And he has the money to do it like that. And they don't mind because real men are scarce. So it makes no sense to even behave like that. Do not impose your will on somebody else to the point where they are stifled, where they're suffocating. They want to breathe. Move from over my shoulder. Have you ever been to work and somebody over your shoulder? Want to move from over my shoulder? I don't want nobody over my shoulder. I'm looking to see if we're doing it right. Well, if you have to be standing over my shoulder, you sit down and do the work. Get from over my shoulder. Nobody like nobody over their shoulder. Because even the Holy Ghost that is with us is not every mistake the Holy Ghost point out that we did. He will speak to us for some things. Not every single, as they would say, dege, dege, dege. Not every single thing the Holy Ghost point out. When you're quiet, the Holy Ghost will speak to you and say, you know, you never did that right. But he don't slap you up all the time. You did this, you did that. No, he just speak to you nicely. And it's the same grace. Amen. We're way over the time. I tell you, this was going to be very interesting because we're going to look into Jezebel. Amen. And then Attilia, her daughter, came just like her. But let's pick it up next week, all right? Same place, same time. Join me on Monday as we continue to look at the spirit of Jezebel, and we'll have the flyer out on Monday, God's willing. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy new month. May this be a May of miracles. A May of miracles, sign, wonders, and healing and miracles for